Case study, the Old Joliet Prison, Scaring with Sammy. I talk a lot about tips and techniques and options, but I also want to demonstrate how these are put into practice. So I'm going to do a couple case studies, starting off with the Joliet Prison, the Old Joliet Prison, which I was a guest actor at for this past Midwest Haunters Convention in 2023. So I teach seminars. I've taught at Transworld and I teach at Midwest Haunters Convention. And 2023, I was presenting a seminar at Midwest on the 5 types of scares. But as much as I love presenting and as much as I love teaching, I am a performer at heart. I love performing. And so I thought, well, while I'm there, they're going to have a tour at the Old Joliet Prison. Why not get involved and just guest act and have fun for a night? Sometimes I'll do case studies from haunts that have been my home haunt, so such as Enigma Haunt, which unfortunately closed down, and Fright Nights, where I am at the South Florida Fairgrounds, where I am right now. But because this was guest acting, I want to talk a little bit about that process too. So like I said, I'm going off to Midwest Haunters Convention, I'm going to be presenting a seminar, and I want to play while I'm there. They're going to have a tour at the Old Joliet Prison, and I want to play with them for the night. So what I do is I get in contact first with friends of mine that I've met at these conventions that actually work in that area, work in the Chicagoland area. I'm here in South Florida, they're in the Chicagoland area. It's a different scene. But I think I mentioned before when I was talking about conventions, one of the most important things that you can do is meet other people at these conventions because you can learn things and you can make contacts. And it was great because I asked them and they said, here's the contact information. So I contacted them. I sent my, some pictures. I introduced myself. I gave them references so that they could call and see, what type of performer I was, what I did. And I asked them if they had availability, and they said yes. So I was booked to play at the Old Joliet Prison. So the first thing that I do is I do some research, and I go online and I read the backstory of the prison and the company, and I ask my contact, what type of themes they have. And so there they have, it's more of like a sort of a demon and prison, kind of a mix between the two, all of this. And so that's their kind of vibe. Now, knowing this, I decide what I'm going to bring, because I'm a guest actor, so I should be, pretty much self-contained to the best that I can. I mean, the idea is to be helpful, not a burden on them. Even though sometimes when I guest act at places, I like letting them do my makeup for even characters that need a lot of makeup, because it's fun to see what different people do. So I enjoy that, but I'm also self-contained. I can do it myself if I need to. So I'm going to be self-contained. I'm choosing my character R12B6. And if you know what that means, please put in the comment below and I'll try to figure out how to, respond and see those comments. So R12B6 is a character that I think that, kind of fits the vibe, or at least enough. Now, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I could be outside in a queue line or inside. So I'm choosing a character as well that can do both. I'll be comfortable outside or I'll be comfortable inside. So I show up and I check in and I meet people and I do all the paperwork that needs to be done, and I present the costume and the character and they approve it, which is great. And then they tell me that I'm going to be in a room. So now I'm looking at the situation that the character is in. So now I'm going to start creating the character and the show for their haunt. So here is a really poorly drawn diagram of kind of where I was situated. We're in a prison, it's an actual prison, so we have real concrete walls. And the guests are coming down, this is sort of a guard path, and the cells are here, 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 and all around. So the guests are walking on kind of this straight path, and the actors are in and around these cells. Now, one of the things about the cells is that they are designed so that the guards can see the inmates at all times. So you've got these slanted walls, so there really isn't a lip to hide behind. So it's not like I could be hiding behind a lip and then the guests come in and then, they think the room's empty and all of a sudden, look, it's not. What we have is I'm kind of in sight the entire time. So here I am in this cell, which is right after this curve. Guests are walking down, they're gonna come through here and I'm going to encounter them here in this room. So because I don't really have a place to hide and pop out of, my scare isn't going to come from nobody's here, suddenly I'm there. Now I could, this is sort of a curtain here. I could be here and kind of pop out a little bit, but that's kind of getting the first person. After that, I'm just in their way. So I'm going to be creating a character in this room as part of this sort of the overall feeling. I'm creating a character, but I still want to be able to get my startle scares, which is going to be from the character lunging at the guests. So the first thing I do when creating a character is I take a look at the situation. Here we are, we're in kind of a demon prison, there's death, there's torture, and I'm in a cell. I'm wearing, R12B6 is in a straitjacket type character, so I'm working with this type of vibe. I'm in this prison. There's a couple different things I could be. I could be a guard, or I could be a prisoner of some sort. Now, I'm wearing the straitjacket, so, it kind of says that I'm a prisoner, but I could be a guard. If I think about it this way, I could be a guard that the other prisoners caught and, ripped apart and stuffed into a straitjacket, and when the guests are going by, I'm, pleading with them to believe me that I'm a guard and not actually a prisoner, which would be kind of horrific. But for this purposes, they're only going to see me for a couple seconds. I think I'm going to go straight with prisoner patient. As I said, I'm kind of in a unique situation in this here because I've played this character before, so I already have ideas of how I want this character to work and how this character works. But because the process is the same, we're going to go through it anyway. So I've decided that I am going to be a sort of a patient prisoner type character. And I'm wearing a full mask and the full body is covered. And so I think, did I choose to wear this today? Or is this something that's put on me? Because it's a straitjacket, I'm going to decide that this wasn't a character choice. It was put on the character. They're restrained, and you have to ask why they're restrained. Is it because that I'm, going around crazy, killing people or hurting people or whatever? And this is where we raise the stakes. I want to make this kind of as horrific as possible. So my idea is that they put me in this because it's very easy to strap me down so they can do their horrible experiments. And one of the experiments that I've decided, because I'm wearing this full mask, is that they've taken off my face. They've taken off all sorts of body parts, but it's the face that's going to be the big thing for now. In fact, I'm going to kind of build a character around that. There are a lot of different choices that I could make, but I'm going to make this choice. So the choice is that I'm a patient and they experiment on me and they've taken my face off, which is why they wrap me up in this mask. And I need to be able to express this story to the guests, otherwise it's meaningless. So the way that I'm going to do that is that this character wants his face back. And by saying that, it's going to give a guest an insight into the story that I'm creating. So I want my face back. And I'm thinking about this, I could go angry the entire time, but that doesn't really give me anywhere to go. So I'm going to make the choice that it's going to be a little bit more almost childlike, more pleading. And after all, this character does carry around a teddy bear. So, mentally, we're not exactly in that position to fully really understand. So I'm pleading, I want my face back, give me back my face. And then I can get angry so I can push that level up and back down. Up and back down, and that way I can have different levels when I'm going after the guests. So here I am, I want my face back, and now that I've kind of have my situation, who are the guests? And I'm going to decide, and I've decided that they are the doctors and nurses. So here I am in the cell, and now it's doctor, give me my face back. And I'm including them into my show. Nurse, don't leave me alone again. And so I can work with the guests because now I've decided who they are. Because of where I am, I also know that I can't be too far back in the cell, because being too far back in the cell, there's no light back there. So they can't see me. And if I'm too far back in the cell, I can't get to the guests anyway. So I'm going to be kind of on that diagonal wall or on the other side, whatever it is, in a place where I can plant my foot and launch, doctor. And now I'm including them and I'm still getting the scares. Here they are, they're looking at me, I'm doing my thing, I'm crying and screaming about my face, boom, and then I'm still going after them. And depending on which way I go, I can hold the teddy bear and I have my buffer hand up. These are the techniques that we talked about before, just putting them in action. I'm also doing a foot flap. This is, you never want to stomp your foot. If you stomp your foot, not never, there are places that are set up so you can stomp, but instead of stomping my foot to get that extra, to punctuate the scare, I'm doing a foot flap, which goes heel, toe, and I'm flapping the toe down. And on concrete, you don't want to be slamming your leg into the ground, but a toe flap you can do all night and it's not going to hurt you. So here I am, I'm doing my thing, and I'm going to do a toe flap. Now let's create the body and the voice of this character. So I want the body to feel, off and weird, and it's experimented on, so it's not working right. I want it to feel broken. So I'm going to start off with the idea of, I'm going to use the Labanefforts, and I've decided that it's going to be, the main characteristic is going to be slow and heavy because of the pain, and it's kind of, and indirect. So it's kind of a little, so here I am, it's the pain is just driving and it hurts. So here is, my stance is slow, heavy, indirect. This character leads with the ears. The face is kind of, is messed up, so it's not really a face this way, but even all the movement, even when I'm walking in one direction, is still, the face is kind of indirect. It's very indirect, so I'm kind of leading with the ears. Next, I want to mess the body up. So I'm going to use marionetting. And I'm going to pull, let's loosen this arm. I've got this, because I've got the long sleeve. Well, I'll loosen that arm and it'll drag, and that's going to, sort of exaggerate that. And then I'm going to pull up on this side. I'm holding the teddy bear, I'm going to pull up, on the right hip. And now my body is on an odd, awkward position, and I'm off center walking, and it gives the feeling that the body is broken in this way. So I kind of have a bit of the body. I don't really need to add identities. I don't really need to add an animal or a color to this because it's kind of working the way it is. Now, I might every once in a while say, yeah, I think let's add some blue. I'll add a touch of green, an idea of these, just to change things up a little bit. But primarily, this is where I'm going. Not only that, but when it comes to the marionetting, doing one thing all night might get tiring, so I can always switch it up. And it's not a problem if I switch it up, because I'm not going to get guests walking in before saying, Dr. Frankenstein, that hump was on the rather, they're not going to do that. So, if I get tired this way, I'm going to switch it up. And I'm still off center, I'm still moving, and I'm still getting the scares in the character. Voice-wise, first of all, this is a unique situation because these are actual concrete cells and the acoustics are amazing. Before I started doing the show, while we're waiting in the back, I'm walking through and I'm doing some Marriage of Figaro, and it's sounding incredible because I've got this resonance going on. I haven't had resonance like that in years. I'm just singing, my Marriage of Figaro. I'm just like, yeah, Kathleen Battle, bring it on. But of course, if Kathleen Battle was actually in the prison and she was to actually let loose, she'd probably pop my head like a pimple because, she has real power in her voice. Anyway, but I have these acoustics in the voice, so I can actually speak away from them and the guests as they're coming through, and the sound bouncing around is still going to come out strong. But I want, just like the body, I want it to be broken, I want the voice to be broken as well. So I'm going to go, I'm going to bring it up into and out of falsetto this way and keep it broken. I want my face. I'm supporting, and I'm using the acoustics of the sound around me. Like I said, it's more of a pleading than an angry, even though I can get angry and bring it in. In fact, when I go after the guests, I'm going to make the voice more solid while I'm attacking for that first sound, and then I can go into, the rest of my bits. So here, Doctor, it hurts. Because I only have to do the hard, louder sound at the beginning to get their attention. After that, I can just articulate and get the rest of my story out. So I've created the broken body, the broken voice, and the guests are coming in. I'm doing my thing here, and then boom, I'm there and I'm back. That's basically it. I've created the broken body, broken voice. The guests are coming through. They hear me before they actually see me because from a little bit down the hall, they hear, they're crying about the face, and I want my face back, and then they see me a little bit, and boom, and I'm out, and I'm scaring Doctor, and I'm bringing them into the story, and I created a story. I created a character. I used a lot of the techniques. I created a story. A lot of people, they go by, they maybe see me only for 2, 3, 4 seconds at most. Some people stopped and stared, and, I had a little bit more fun with that, but most of the time, a lot of the time, people would just be going by. So I'm just creating this moment for them. I'm part of the story. I'm part of this world. I'm giving them something else that is going to make them feel like this world is real. I don't have to do a whole huge amount of extra backstory because it's not gonna come out. But I'm taking the time that I have and I'm using it, creating that story. And that is basically what we're doing. So that is a case study, Old Joliet Prison, Scaring with Sammy.